Okay, so I was just talking about darkness and there being no, that darkness is not made of antiphotons, which brings up the idea of antiphotons and antimatter. And so, is a positron really the opposite of an electron? Um, and what kind of contrast? Because there's something where there's a material components on both sides of the dichotomy. So is that a material dichotomy? And yes and no, it still adheres to this idea of having a codependent definition, even more so, because you only get a positron. If you get an electron, you get these things as pairs, and if they meet again, they annihilate. So um, still, they don't come from nothing, though there's analogous, situations in the quantum field where little pairs of particles, do seem to come from nothing. Still, it's more likely they're coming from some sort of energy that is either in space or a nearby universe or something like this. So this just made me think of my personal thoughts on antimatter, because there's a problem, which is, why is there no antimatter out there? We look out in space, it just doesn't. It seems like the antimatter is missing. Okay, and what I kind of think is that when you have the Big Bang, there's an equal amount of matter and antimatter. But what would happen possibly because of the quantum effects is, in universes where the antimatter and matter were not clumped up and they were mixed, those universes annihilate. The matter, and the life of those universes is going to be dominated by antimatter and matter annihilation, and just high energy short-lived universe. And so you're left with universes where the matter and antimatter are in enough clumps that they separate. Now, because that means that the universes that exist are those where the antimatter and matter don't interact, and if they don't interact, then they're quantum isolated, which basically puts them in another realm altogether. So we can look out in our universe and see just matter, because it has to be that for us to exist. It's sort of an anthropomorphic. No. What's that called? Anthropic principle. It's like in the universes, if you have all these universes, of course, the one we're in, there was matter clumping, and because of quantum mechanics, if that could only be because we're not interacting with that other matter, which essentially relativistically puts it in its own, relativistic cone, where it is in another so-called universe.